Hi, my name's Ryan, and I work for Lamp Magazine. Usually I'm talking about books, but this year I'll make more computer videos since it involves less reading. I asked Twitter a little while ago what they might prefer to see me make, and the result was overwhelmingly the only thing that I wasn't prepared to actually do, an infinite money generator. And although I am working on that, it's taken a little longer than I anticipated. Go figure. I did do everything else on that list, though, so I'm sure that says a lot about me. It is 2020 something, and I still don't use a note-taking app. I was more concerned with nailing this chart that tells me what kind of coffee is most suitable during which time of day. Have you ever heard of Tom7? I've been a fan of his for years. I used to take his chiptunes and remix them into pop songs. This was almost 15 years ago. He was always very popular, but he also gives a lot of love to his fans. He complimented me on my use of his chromatic ascending crescendo in this song. Good guy. And imagine my surprise when he, of all people, turns up on MathTube to razz Matt Parker himself and play a friendly game of How to Ruin Christmas. Just kidding. Fun times are always had when math is involved. However, Tom7 himself, I believe, is on the naughty list for making his friends handle cryptographic material by hand on Christmas, no less. Something that is normally and formally frowned upon. However, his proof that you could do such a thing by hand was, of course, a testament to overcomplication as a study. And I followed Tom7 for a long time. He is a master of Complification, to say the least of it. I wanted to take Tom7's entire protocol and make it work in a web app. Not simplify it, per se. I wanted to preserve every bit of that beautiful overcomplication while making it actually usable by normal people who don't want to spend an afternoon doing modular arithmetic. Although his online tool is more apocalypse-proof than my version, probably, yes. I use pre-encrypted messages. Tom7 employs manual byte-level encoding, so participants manually picking names and addresses, packing them all into a big int with length prefixes. I use encode message, which does it automatically. Same format, same 100-byte limit, slightly conservative versus 128 bytes to account for the encoding overhead. With ours, you pre-encrypt during the join, and when you join, you encrypt your data with everyone else's public keys. When new people join, existing members backfill by encrypting for them. Server stores the pre-encrypted messages and looks them up during cycle initiation. So we're using a backfilling method. Early joiners can't encrypt for later joiners until the backfill happens. On the infrastructure side, Tom7 has a standalone HTML file. No server, no database. Everything is client-side, and it's manual copying and pasting and coordinating. You're passing, of course, these to the next person in the sequence. I'm using JavaScript, Next.js. The server coordinates everything. Automation needs persistence and coordination, and I can't automate without a server, of course. That's pretty normal. Tom7 doesn't use any storage at all. Participants keep their own keys on paper, I assume, or, in their Notes app. I use a SQLite database. Server never sees the plain text keys. Members don't lose their keys. Server can't decrypt without the passwords anyway. The password reset exists, but requires re-encryption. Tom7 has no authentication, obviously. He's just hanging out with his friends. And so I guess at this point, I'll explain the UX flow here. This is what happens. You go to the site and you are prompted to create a new Secret Santa group. Do that and fill that whole thing out, of course, to the best of your ability. Once that's done, you can share this group and its very festively themed URL, secure and unique, of course, with your friends. And then they will join the group. As soon as 4 people belong to the group, then the creator of the group can close the group so that no more people can join. At this time, all of the members of the group have to log back in order to complete the algorithm. Once that happens, then the creator can initiate the cycle, and then everyone upon login can decrypt their assignment, their santee, in other words. Upon first decryption as well, you are sent an email with your assignment. I'm using the term assignment instead of santee. Santee is, of course, much funner. Maybe I'll change that. We'll see. Tom7's would be really fun to see scale, but I'm not sure if it would work. Although Tom was having a lot of fun, I was having just a little bit less fun, maybe, doing this. And sort of in the end, Tom7 has built a really fun manual educational tool that takes days and has a high barrier to join. You don't really necessarily need to understand crypto to do his system. Of course not, even with or without his primer. Very helpful primer, by the way. Ours is automated, fast, takes minutes, and is a very low barrier. I'm not totally sure that it works at scale, but I believe it does. Maybe that's something we can try to do. So the bottom line, what we really kept here, the Elgamal parameters, 124-bit primes, generator 7, the quadratic residue fix, which is the private key times 2. Cycle creation algorithm, we sort keys, pair each with the next. The message encryption is the same Elgamal. End-to-end privacy, the server never sees the plain text. And the assignment logic, the key before yours is your SETA. Instead of manual and email, we've got server coordinating all of that. And maybe it loses some of the spirit, let's say the Christmas spirit of Tom7's tool, which of course it does. And just thinking of all that crypto really makes me sleepy. He has been naughty, but maybe I'm just tired. Not like I need any more coffee, but at least I know for sure after consulting my coffee table that it's actually beer o'clock in the morning. Merry Christmas. And let me be clear, above all, Tom7 is a real computer doctor with a FID, whereas I'm just more of a fad, maybe, or something similar. But with any luck, maybe I can touch greatness and somebody will either point out some mistake in my code base or my tool will wind up on the front page of Reddit and 50,000 of us can partake in a secure online gift exchange by next Christmas. We shall see. Thank you and shout out to Tom7 for the inspo. Go follow him right now. Until next time.